to go?
We are good to
Okay,
go.
awesome. All right, the Parks Committee will come to order, and we'll note that Alderman Johnson's present, Alderman Burnett, Alderman Weary, and Alderman Nicholson's excused. Can I have an approval of the
Move to
agenda?
approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Burnett, second by Alderman Johnson. Any changes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. C, approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Burnett, second by Alderman Johnson. Changes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Regular business, number one, consideration with possible action on the request by Alder LaFave that as the Park Department has no policy on notification of residents, neighbors of major additions or alterations that would directly affect them, I'm therefore asking for a policy or ordinance be put in place. Well, Director, want to?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if you wanted to start the conversation to
you
kind
wanna
of give a
go
little
first?
background, otherwise I'll just kind of start reviewing the
Alderman
policy.
Yeah, I just think it's good policy to have for, because sometimes the parks do some big, modifications, additions, anything like that, and the neighbors should know, so that they can be involved maybe in even some of the plans, helping maybe, some input, and it's for all parks. I believe all parks in the city, so that and it's also good public relations, I think, too. Could be something like
You got a
that.
copy?
Yeah,
Everybody got a copy?
yeah,
Was in it?
yeah. We said talking about, the only thing I wanted to add was the second point is to add the alder of the district. Thought that would be good too, because there might not be a neighborhood association in that district.
Where did you
so-
want to add that?
Let's see. In the situation, park staff will reach out to either the neighborhood association,
Yes.
and alder of the district. Well, maybe it should be after or and
How
all
about,
affected, wherever you think it would sound better.
Park staff will reach out to the alder person of the district.
Okay, and then
Yeah,
associations, however you want to put it in there. Mhm.
Are there any questions for Alderman LaFave?
Okay.
What would be considered a major addition or alteration? How would you define that?
Well, it'd have to be something that would impact the neighborhood, something that would
thinking
be a
is
lot
like-
of noisy, when it's a quieter area maybe, all of a sudden you got something that's gonna contribute a lot of noise that has never been there. No, I'm not saying Bay Beach, because Bay Beach's got noise anyway, you always do have some with that. But some of the other parks are smaller, quieter, and you might put something in maybe that would,
Sure. Let me kind of go over some of these bullet points just to give you a little bit of background here. So currently, the city Parks Department does not do anything on the city webpage as far as notifying the public of what projects are even funded. So really, if somebody wants that all-encompassing list, they either need to contact the Parks Department directly or attend the budget meetings or the capital improvement bond request meetings. So what we'll do is we'll go on the city webpage, we'll put together a section on the park homepage, and we'll list all of the approved projects, and we'll kind of give a brief description of each one of what that project consists of. And then as part of that, we'll also provide a little comment section where they can either email comments or they will give them a phone number where they can address questions or comments directly with staff. So we'll put that on the city website, so that'll be open for any resident to have access to that whenever they want. In addition, what we'll do, which is not in the policy, but to kick that off, we'll probably bring this up at one of the neighborhood leadership council meetings and kind of let them know that we're putting this online so that they can then get the word out to the public that this is probably the best way if they want to know what projects are coming up. They can go to the city website and find that information. And then as far as the second bullet point goes, if additional meetings are required for public input, that would be to my discretion or the park director's discretion to facilitate those meetings and determine who the appropriate individuals are to invite to those meetings. We originally looked at putting something in place where it was kind of more concrete and substantial, but in reality we would probably on occasions want to have public input meetings that maybe we're not affecting the use of park, we're just changing things. And so it's really hard to write that in such a way that encompasses every situation and who you would contact for those situations. So what this does is it would leave it up to the park director's discretion to set those meetings. And we would also invite, possibly user groups to those meetings, which wasn't included in here. But, it's like the baseball groups, if we're doing things with the Little League fields or pickleball groups. And so, one example of something that we would have a public meeting for that wouldn't be included in this policy, but we'd have the meeting anyway, would be like the Astor shelter. When we replaced the shelter, we didn't change the usage of the park. We replaced an old shelter with a new shelter, so we still wanted public input in that project.
Because they
it was an
use that, don't they, for
important
their,
project, yeah.
Yeah, they use
And so
that,
we went through the public input process, and, that was really helpful. It helped guide the design, and we ended up with a shelter that the neighborhood really wanted. Another, potential situation would be like Colburn Pool. We replaced the pool with a pool, so we still wanted the public input, and so we held those public meetings. But other things that would come up is, if we're adding a parking lot right next to somebody's house, obviously we would contact those owners and, have a discussion with them. I guess I can't tell you every situation when it would occur, but there's times when it makes sense and there's times when it doesn't make sense. So that's how we would deal with the second.
And maybe
bullet
if you don't
point.
need the whole neighborhood, but maybe you could have a little discussion with the alder and, just
Correct.
so everybody, he kind of knows and what's going on and
Yeah.
Alderman
in the
Johnson,
district.
do
So
you
if
have
somebody
a
brought
question, or-
something up to the alder and they said, oh, yes, I know.
Alderman Johnson?
So this just seems like good practice, Dan. I mean, is this something we actually have to take action on? And
Yeah, and it's something we've been doing for years. We will continue to do it. This is just putting it on paper as far as what the policy would be for it.
so where does this get housed? I mean, it's not like an ordinance, right? So,
It's a.
I mean,
it's a-
I've heard a lot about like policies that we use, but where are those?
We have written policies for the Parks Department, and that gets updated, every so often. And when there's changes to them, we do bring the policies forward to the Park Committee for approval. The last policy that we brought forward was one for the website advertising, fundraising on the city website. So we did the same thing. We have a booklet in our office where we keep a master list of all of these policies that have been implemented. And as they change, we modify them and we bring the changes back to the Park Committee for reconsideration.
So do you actually need us to authorize a policy, or is that something you can just do?
It's something that we can just do. I don't think it's required to formally have the Park Committee adopt the policy. And
I mean, it's like
it-
any
as far
other
as-
employer that has policies and procedures manuals, right? This is how
Correct.
you do things?
Mhm. That's basically what this is. I mean, it's being brought forward today because of the request to actually create a policy and
Have something
actually
in
bring it
place
to
so
a
that
committee for
if somebody
discussion.
wanted to check, they can go to any department and can say, we want to know certain things, what kind of policy you got for it. And people would, then you would be able to tell them this is the policy. You can go online and probably get it, right?
Yeah. And so it'd be up to you whether or not you just want to refer this to staff to implement it, or if you'll actually want to formally adopt and approve the policy, which you could do.
There's not an actual process in place that requires us to approve policies, right?
No.
In which case then, I would just, receive and place on file with the understanding that you're gonna adopt this and put it in
This
your
is what
policy
it
and
is.
procedures manual. Right?
That would be adequate.
Would
As long as it's,
satisfy
right,
you?
as long as
Okay.
it's a policy that they
Right.
have in the department, yeah.
Alderman Burnett?
My only fear with that is that if the motion is, if that motion is to receive and place on file, when we look at the minutes and years from now, we won't know what
Oh, what
this
happened?
discussion,
Oh,
what was this discussion. So receive and place on file makes it seem like we didn't.
maybe just
So you
direct,
must
direct,
hold on,
Alderman
direct-
LaFave.
Sure, yeah, that's right, yeah, with,
Alderman Burnett?
what's up?
You got the floor.
Yeah, so if I could, we didn't second the motion, but if I could make a motion.
Well, let's see, anybody else here for this item? We didn't open the floor, so sure. Anything else you wanted to add before we get into?
no, I'm just gonna say,
Okay.
you could just say direct the department to, and that would be in the minutes then, right? To go ahead with this policy.
Okay. Alderman Burnett?
freezing, I don't know what to say. I'm nervous.
I was looking at you, cameras are on you.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to refer this to staff in order to make it a official policy and procedure of the department.
Okay, motion by Alderman Burnett to refer to staff to approve and implement, or just to make it an official policy, I guess? Is that-
Refer to staff to, Dan, did you get that? To make it
Yeah.
an official policy and procedure.
Is there a second to that?
Department. Second.
Second by Alderman Johnson. All right, discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Number 2, consideration with possible action on the request by Alderman Stevens to look at the Bear Creek Parkway along Baskin Street for possible upgrades to this park area.
So I spoke to Alderman Stevens, he wasn't able to attend the meeting, but really what it comes down to is there's a map that was included in the agenda packet of the area that's in question. So this is just east of Dan's Avenue, east of Dan's School. There's a little greenway there where for years we've had a small soccer field there. There is a stormwater wetland that's there. There's also a tot playground structure. It's not a full playground structure, it's only a tot one. And then the Bear Creek multi-use trail cuts through the property where the old railroad tracks used to be. And this is a good access point for the trail. So he has spoken to a few residents in the area, and they would like to refer this to staff to basically just take a look at what other options are out there for redevelopment of this site, either adding features or updating the playground or better trail access. So what he's looking for is just to refer to staff and bring it back for a recommendation.
Questions?
Would refer staff?
Second. Motion by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Burnett to refer to staff. Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Informational Director's Report on updates, recent activities.
Just give me a moment here. So just a couple of things I want to touch bases on. So park crews are really busy this time of year preparing for and cleaning up for all of the various activities and events such as Kids Day, the 4th of July, Track and Field Day, Kite Fest. This time of year is really busy with special activities, so that's taken up a lot of our time. Emerald ash borer treatments are ongoing with the Forestry Department. We're currently looking at treating 2,400 ash trees this year, and we're well on our way to reaching our goal. The Big Wheel that opened to the public on July 4th, huge success. The Friends of the Bay Beach amusement park, they did have a fundraiser on July 2nd. So that was a little soft opening, and all the proceeds from that fundraiser went directly to the Friends of the Bay Beach for future development. Great success. So within the first 4 days of operation, we had over 16,000 rides given on the Ferris wheel. So it's been very popular.
How many times have you been on it?
I've only been on once, believe it or not. So it's a nice ride.
Nope, the kids wouldn't go on it. I was waiting for them, and they took them out there, they didn't go on it.
The summer playground program is well on its way. So today was James Day. I'm sure that went off pretty well. I haven't had a chance to touch base with James on it. But we do have a citywide talent show that'll be held on July 23rd, and that's an annual event through the summer playground program. We do have an adult pickleball tournament that will be at Edison Park on Saturday, July 20th. This tournament is extremely popular, and we usually have participants from 4 different states attend it. The Kitty Carnival and Parade will be held on August 6th. Fit Fest will take place on July 13th in conjunction with the Open Streets event in our downtown. Glow Zumba event will be held on Thursday, August 1st at Light Park from 8:30 to 10. Just as we did in the past, we'll hand out glow bracelets and necklaces to all the participants, and it's an interesting event, so it's kind of fun with all the glow sticks out there. 6th annual Lego event will take place at the Bay Beach Pavilion on July 27th and 28th. The next 2 free tool days are scheduled for July 22nd and August 5th. And over at the Wildlife Sanctuary, the summer camps are nearly full for the season. There's only a few camps that have availability, but in addition to the summer camps, there's also a lot of different program opportunities out there, such as Friday Fun Days, Nature Art on July 12th, fishing on July 19th, and then a birding event on July 26th. So there's a lot of events going on out at the sanctuary too. So summers are our busiest time of year, and there's never a shortage of things to do in our parks. So that ends my director's report.
I just wanted to mention, well, go ahead, Alder.
Thank you. Dan, just 2 questions regarding Kitty Carnival. One, when I'm part of the director's report, so I know it's not an agenda item, but when I was a kid, it used to be later in summer. Is there a reason why it's like early August now?
I don't know the history of that. I can look it up and get back to you. Are you familiar with that, James?
It's really probably only a week prior. It used to be the last
It
week.
used to be like a send-off of
It used to be the last week of the playground program, but what happened is the big part of the Kitty Carnival actually is all the funds that are raised actually go back to the parks for their end of the season picnics, and all the money that we get from the 5-cent tickets we sell goes right back into the park. So it actually was a very, not to get too into it here, but our accounting and trying to get all that money settled and then redistributed to all the parks and then them to purchase all the things they need for the
That
picnic.
makes sense.
We moved it up 1 week,
Yeah.
essentially, so then they had time to do all that stuff and make it a good experience for all the kids.
Makes sense. And then the other thing is, remember, with the previous mayor moved it to where it is currently. When I was a kid, it was at Joanne's. And I always liked that Joanne's. It just seemed like less congestion of traffic and safer going. Have we had any discussions about possibly relocating that?
It was moved out of Joanne's more because of the bullfrogs were there, and we ran into some conflicts with scheduling. If they made it into the playoffs, then it affected the Kitty Carnival. So that's the reason it was moved to Light Park. We can explore
I'll
possibly
put
moving
an
it
agenda
back.
item. I think it's a good idea to
Yeah.
consider moving
Our
it
biggest
back.
concern with moving it back is the damage that it does to the turf, depending on the weather that you have that day. If it's a wet day, and you get all those people in the stadium there in the outfield, it can damage the outfield turf. So I would have a concern with moving it back there, but it's something that we can definitely look into a little bit more.
The other consideration too is, not that we can't look into it, but the other consideration is we have an irrigation system at Joanne's now. And the way we currently do Kitty Carnival is all those fence posts there's 36 booths, they each have at least 4 fence posts that get pounded in the ground. And all, the irrigation system just, we can't do it over there currently. We can look into different ways to do it, but we actually had the Kitty Carnival at Bay Beach, on the softball field at Bay Beach before. We've tried the Kitty Carnival different places. Honestly, we've gotten the most success overall with getting number of people there at Light Park. So, that's part
That's
of it.
fine. No one's crying for change.
No,
I always liked it at
I
Joanne's.
always am willing to, I like looking at different options though, so I don't mind changing.
Jim, another item? Burnett, you said you had 2?
No. Both Kitty Carnival.
I just wanted to compliment the forestry staff. They've been incredibly responsive. We had a tree go down in Colburn in somebody's backyard, and they were there the same day. So just compliments to them. They're always like Johnny on the spot.
We will pass that information on.
I spend a lot of time at Edison for Babe Ruth baseball now, and I can tell you that definitely those pickleball courts are always full. They're always busy, so it's true.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, motion to receive and place on file.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Burnett. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Tentatively, August 14th, next agenda. We'll approach that when it comes up. Motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second, Johnson. Burnett, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Tough one. When it's done.